Wait a minute. This doesn't look normal. So, there's one fun thing about generals, which, man, do I wish that other games would steal. The shell map, as is termed the, essentially the main menu mission that the game loads into at the start, you can change that. People have made shell maps, although they seem to be few and far between. This is probably the only one that's any good. I think there's one other one I demoed, but it just didn't look all that great recorded. But this is one of the few ones that's just out there, still available in 2021. I feel like there were more back in the day, but maybe I'm just hallucinating. We can also see some interesting properties of this shell map versus the standard one, aka this one actually shows units being promoted. There's actually a lot of functions in the world builder, quote-unquote, essentially the map editor. You can have units not gain any experience, you can have units just be invincible. This applies to buildings as well, not the rank stuff, but... so you're essentially given the tools to even make these, which is pretty cool. If there's any sort of issue I take with some of these shell maps, and this applies to the basic one as well, the base one, it's just that sometimes they just don't really feature a lot of variety. This one's essentially just a rotating camera. There's a couple units that will fight, but otherwise you don't really see the Inferno cannons doing anything. And you've got Red Guard that are just sitting in the corner. This will change in the future, so please don't spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's just that, you know, sometimes you kind of wish that maybe you saw a little bit more of the map, or more things occur.
General, I am Lieutenant Eva. I will serve as your comm officer for our campaign against the Global Liberation Army. We know the GLA have access to lethal biological weapons, and we have tracked these weapons to Baghdad. Our troops are assembled outside the city and await your orders, sir.
Cap on station. Skies are clear. Radar lock! Break! Break! I'm hit! Hawks down! Anybody see a shoot?
Negative! No shoot!
Echo Company, engage!
Roger. Targets acquired. Enemy in perimeter. Range 200. All units, stand by. Fire at will.
I'm hit! Let's finish him off!
Watch the left!
Bravo down! Got we got
Beta
one!
3! Reload! Reload!
Help over here!
Here.
Fire!
We have 11 confirmed. All units, search and destroy. More contacts. Range 300.
Fast movers inbound! Light them up!
Enemy perimeter breached. General, we must capture Baghdad and eliminate all GLA forces.
How about a show of force?
Welcome back, General.
Heavy armor ready for action. Humvee here.
So it seems that the U.S. forces agent, our briefing officer, is the probably only connection that this game has to prior Command & Conquer titles.
Looks like a good run. Got room for 5. Humvee here.
The U.S., as you might imagine, is kind of a different beast from the past 2 factions we've played as.
From the city at the first sign of contamination.
It's also nice to know that the cutscenes don't work on difficulty rules, which is why those 5 Scorpion tanks give me a lot more trouble than they do on different difficulties.
Pull back. Watch those clouds, men. Could be anthrax.
General, Washington orders us to enter the mountains and destroy the enemy Scud storm.
For those who are curious, yes, a lot of this mission also featured in promo material and ads. Going back to what I was saying with regards to the different factions, immediately we can see how different and striking the U.S. forces are. Every vehicle has the option to build one of 2 drones.
Assault teams, enter those buildings from above and clean them out. POW camp up ahead. Get those men out of there. Rangers, enter from the roof, sweep and clear. Get those pilots into vehicles. Let's roll.
Now we're talking. You got the map.
So we've got a few things that are happening right away. First off, vehicles in the U.S. faction get to build one of 2 drones. You either have a battle drone or a UAV drone.
Army's elite.
Self-explanatory. Battle drone essentially shoots and repairs. The UAV drone is basically just there to scout. Now, in addition to the heightened radius of vision that units now have, they also spot hidden units. So it's always important to have 1 or 2 UAVs at the very least.
How about a lift? Got room for 5. This should be fun. How about a lift? Got room for 5.
The other nice, although rarely seen, I guess, addition or action that the U.S. forces can perform is getting some Chinook helicopters and having them essentially drop infantry into occupied buildings. It's nice because it gets around one of the more obvious problems, that of getting to a building before you can actually attack it. You don't have the same vulnerabilities. If there's only rebels and no anti-air, then you're essentially guaranteed getting the building. The only difference, or only issue, I guess, technically, is that Chinooks can't carry a full complement of a building within them. So you don't get the most out of capturing a building, I guess.
Looks like a good run.
Or capturing a neutral structure. It's not really a building.
Looks like a good run. Got room for 5. How about a lift? Humvee here. How about a lift?
Unit lost.
Now, although we also have the ability to use flashbangs with infantry,
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted.
I don't really see the U.S. faction as a infantry faction, period. So I never use infantry.
Got room for 5. Got room for
The only real infantry that actually matters is pilots. Every time a U.S. vehicle with any amount of veterancy dies, a pilot is ejected. That pilot is transferable to any other vehicle unit as long as they can touch ground at some point, and essentially acts as a free rank up.
Lift. USA Armor Division. Got room for 5.
It should also be specified that pilots do have the rank of the unit that they
Bird on the way.
died as or in. So if a third rank unit dies, the pilot that ejects will be of the third rank. You can also, as demonstrated earlier in the mission, essentially stack multiple pilots. So if you wanted to have something, if you really want to upgrade a unit to level 3, you can do so by essentially having 3 rank 1 pilots go into the same unit.
Humvee here.
Army's elite. Taking new position.
Crusader tank responding.
Need a point, man. Army's elite.
Because we're given a lot of support via cutscenes and such, we don't really have too much to worry about in this level. You're probably going to be fine with all the units you start with on brutal difficulty, but at worst, supplementing your forces isn't that big a deal.
Ready for action.
If there's any issue whatsoever, is that you can essentially just dump all your money into drones, which becomes a problem. Not so much in this level, but in future missions, you kind of want to just be careful with how much money you're putting into drones versus actual vehicles. Here we can see that some of our drones are being sniped off, and that kind of sucks.
Ready for action.
I'm delaying a little bit just to see if there's anything, like any hidden units or anything on the map, but I don't think there are.
Ready for action. Army's elite. Need a point, man.
SCUD destroyed.
Always
Baghdad
prepared.
secure.
Taking new
Congratulations,
position.
General.
Special forces here.